Good night. You there with me? Thank you, everybody, and welcome once again to another LimeVibe Live podcast. I'm your host, Yuri Arman Kemp, here from the sunny Isles of Nassau, Bahamas. And it was a great day today. No rain. Nothing weird happened today. It's a great day in Nassau today. So thank you for joining me again. If you have not done so, please like, share, and subscribe to our Facebook and YouTube page. That's LimeVibe77. That's LimeVibe77 on Facebook and YouTube. Also, there's a donate link inside the description. I would like for you to click that and give anything to the LimeVibe Live podcast you so desire. So anything that moves this movement forward would be greatly appreciated. And we're picking up viewers ever so slowly, ever so slightly, but we appreciate everyone who's tuned in right now. So please drop a like and drop a share on it, and we really would appreciate that. So let's get on to the show. How was your week this week, guys? My week was fantastic, actually. My week was fantastic. I always have great weeks, man. Now I'm dealing with some other personal stuff, but I won't go into that. But I always say I am having a great time. I'm having a great day, and because God is good. God has been good to me, man. I could have been somewhere else right now. I could have been doing something else. I could have been in the gutter somewhere. I could have been dead, but God has saved me, and I really appreciate that. And I thank the Lord, and He's brought me to this point where I could actually speak to you guys one on one. So, like I said, enough about me. Let's go into the show. I don't know if you guys have heard that the former PAHO director, the Pan American Health Organization director, Dr. Carissa Etienne, a Dominican, Dr. Carissa Etienne, she died last week Friday. We had known by the time we went to the show, we couldn't talk about it because we didn't have all the information then. We wanted to talk about it last week Friday, but we didn't have all the details. But yeah, she passed away last week Friday, and may she rest in peace. My condolences to her family members. Of course, she was the director that shepherded us through the COVID-19 pandemic, the worst pandemic we ever had, ever, in my lifetime, of course, outside of the AIDS pandemic, which really wasn't a pandemic, it was a sexually transmitted disease, but it could have spread the pandemic if they didn't catch a hold of it quickly. But this COVID-19 was something different. It was something like the Black Plague, like the bubonic plague. And she shepherded all of us in the Western Hemisphere through this, in the Caribbean, Latin America. Dr. Carissa Etienne, she was a wonderful one, and may she rest in peace. And may her family have our condolences there from the LimeVibe family. Now, she died of a heart attack, though, in case you didn't know. She died of a heart attack last week, Friday. Nothing to do with COVID-19, anything like that. But, she died of a heart attack in the United States. That's as much as we know. And I'm not sure when she's going to be funeralized, but I'm going to be looking out for that as well. Okay, like I said, she was a Dominican national. She served the country well, and she served the Pan American Health Organization very well. And they dropped a glittering review of her, a bio of her on their page after they found that she passed. So may she rest in peace. Dr. Carissa Etienne died. Okay, let's go here. Let me give you her age, though. Sorry, I'm growing into being a broadcaster. I'm growing into this. Let me see how old she was. She was born in 1952. So that should make her 62, 72, 82, 92, 2002, 2012, 2022. That should make her about 70, 71, 72. Yeah, about 71. Yeah, 71. 71 years old. God rest her soul, man. She will turn 71 November 2nd. Yeah, so she was there. God promised us 10. She served her time, and she served the world well, and we appreciated her efforts. Okay, moving on from that. I don't know if you guys realize, but not realize, you guys probably were watching this COP28 that they had in Dubai over the last week or so. Everyone was waxing eloquently. All the world leaders were over there waxing eloquently about how you do something about climate change. I think we spoke about this on the last show last week, Friday, where they actually agreed to a loss and damage fund for developing states, which is a good thing. Thank God, because they need to pay, or there's some money need to be paid to small developing states that are being impacted adversely from climate change as a result of all the use of fossil fuels and all the toxins and the damage that is being done to the environment by larger countries and larger corporations. So they've started this loss and damage fund, and so that's great. They've actually initiated it. So now we're trying to find how much they're going to put into it, and how is everyone going to be able to access it, those who are being hurt by climate change. And that was something that the Prime Minister from Bahamas, Philip Davis, he asked for. How do we access these funds immediately? Of course, the Bahamas went through Hurricane Dorian in 2019, the worst hurricane that ever hit the Western Hemisphere. It hit Abaco, the island of Abaco and Grand Bahama. And so it was really wild at that time. I was here during that time. I started work for a newspaper around that same time, so I was right in. They threw me right into Hurricane Dorian. It was amazing, man. It was scary, man. I've seen the pictures and the videos, and some of the waves, they went at least about 15, 20 feet high. On some homes, they covered some homes. It was outrageous, man. It was crazy, man. It was scary. Like seeing people bodies floating down the street in these high tides. I've never seen anything like that. And I pray for the people who saw the carnage in Abaco and Grand Bahama, who saw it firsthand. I saw a video with a lady with her baby, looked like no more than about a year old, on top of a roof, crying out for somebody to come and rescue her, crying out for rescuers to come and save her from the floods. The floods that came over at least about 20 feet high. And she was on top of her roof. Man, how scary it was. She was in a duplex, those 4-story duplexes. No, 4-plexes actually. Two down, two above. And she was crying for help. That show you how high the water came in Grand Bahama and Abaco. So yeah, so Motley was at the COP28, and she laid down the smack. She called for one world government at COP28. A one world government. Yes, she did. Let me read you what she said. Let me read you what she said. Because we can't let her slide by with that. Because what is she? The Illuminati now? She's a Freemason now. Let's go to what Motley said. I didn't cut and paste it, but I can let you listen to it if you want to. That would float your boat. But let me read it out to you. Okay? With Mia Motley had said, Motley urges for one world government climate. If you go to Caribbean Magazine Plus, you'll see the full article there. It was posted Tuesday past. Okay, Motley said that the world needs a governance mechanism to facilitate the interdependence that we now see globally. And without that, it's like having a country that will not enforce its powers of governance on parts of the country. And therefore, if you're only governing a part of the country, you're leaving the rest exposed. The plan needs global governance. The planet needs global governance. Not in a big stick way, but in a simple way, with us cooperating with each other to be able to work with the institutions that we have. That sounds like a one world government to me right there. That sounds like a new world order. So Motley's falling in line with the new world order, She's a part of the Illuminati, if you believe in that, But, it makes sense, Yeah, we're moving towards that anyway. I doubt we'll ever achieve that because there's so much differences, right? Look at the Caribbean. Bahamians can't get along with Haitians. Jamaicans can't get along with Barbadians, and et cetera, et cetera. We have so much diversity here. The Indians can't get along with the blacks in Trinidad and Guyana. Let's be honest now. There probably will never be a one world government. So it's just a pipe dream of fancy by the rich elitists who think that it's going to happen. But I think we're best when we're diverse. We're strongest when we're diverse. There's only one sovereign. That's God above. The one world government is more like a pipe dream, really. So I like to hear him talk about it. I like to scare people with the Illuminati and the Freemasons. And yes, I believe they're out there as well. I believe there are secret societies out there that are trying to control the world, but there's too much diversity. There's too diverse. Look at Europe right now. Europe is falling apart. Since Britain left, Europe has not been the same. And there are other countries that are just teetering on the brink of falling out of the European Union. Now, back in 2008, 2007, 2008, you had countries like Italy and Greece. They were basket cakes. They were trying to get out from the European Union. That's only a bloc. That's only a European bloc. That isn't the one world government. That isn't a one world union. They tried to do it with the World Trade Organization, and that didn't work. They tried to do it with the UN, the United Nations of all things. It didn't work. It can't work because no country is going to allow another country to come in there and have authority over them. No other country, definitely not the United States. They're not going to let some supranational authority come in and tell American citizens what to do. The American government would not allow that. The Bahamas government would allow that. And we're small compared to the United States. So yeah, so Motley wants a one world government, Mia Motley wants a one world government. The Prime Minister of Barbados, Mia Motley, wants a one world government. Good luck to you with that, my sister. But glad you show yourself out, Joe, that you're a part of that elitist system. I'm glad you told on yourself, And we were writing that she was at this climate and health roundtable at the COP28 conference. And she said this in front of, several other guests and a whole audience of people, I'm glad you said to bring this up because, to be honest with you, these kooks, they really gotta stop, man. Because it just can't happen. I don't call her a kook. No, she's not a kook. She's a very intelligent woman. But this is a pipe dream, man. You can't even get agreement in your own street corner. I just talked about, the disagreements in Trinidad right there with the Indians and the blacks. And the Caribbean in particular, the Haitians can't get along with the Bahamians. Bahamians don't like the Haitians. Jamaicans don't like the Barbadians. So where are you going to come over the one world government? But I'm glad you called yourself out, though, because I always have my eye on you. I mean, while I see you getting all this glitter and glamour from the rest of the world, you don't fool everybody in this market. You don't fool everybody. And I look at you and I see you. I see you for what you are. You know, not anything nefarious, but I see you as a attention grabbing, a flavor of the month, flavor of the year. You're just a talking piece for the global elitists. I mean, I see it. You parrot everything they say. I mean, you're very eloquent, and you're very charismatic, and of course you bring a lot of flavor being a female leader. But that's about it. You don't fool me at all. Not at all. Not in the least, my dear. Anyway, that's enough about you. With all due respect, Miss Walkley, get that one world government off your mind. Don't fall in line with these other people, because they're gonna look at you crazy, and the people are gonna start to turn away from you if you want to save your international political career. Because it's clearly that you're using Barbados for your springboard into something else bigger, which is fine, which is okay. Other people have done it. Not Barbados per se, but other people have used their national platforms to go into other international things. Now, all due respect to you for that. The other big story in the region was that the Venezuelan people held a vote last week Sunday, this past Sunday actually, and they voted overwhelmingly to reclaim the disputed Essequibo region from Guyana. And over 10 million people voted in that referendum in Venezuela this past Sunday, in support of the Nicolas Maduro's regime's efforts to turn the region into a Venezuelan state, a separate Venezuelan state. No idea how Nicolas Maduro is going to do this now after he's gotten the mandate from the people to go ahead and take the Escobar region. But I know for one thing, though, the International Court of Justice has come out and they've condemned the vote prior to the vote even happening on Sunday. And they said there's no way we're going to allow Venezuela to reclaim any part of Guyana's sovereignty and sovereign territory. There's no way that's going to happen. The International Court of Justice has came out and said that's not going to happen. They should respect the boundaries of the 1859 boundaries that were cut years ago. So I don't know how they's going to enforce that. But there's no more regional stability anymore, man. President Joe Biden is clearly preoccupied with other things right now. He's preoccupied with Donald Trump running for re-election in 2024. He's preoccupied with Israel and Palestine. He's preoccupied with the Ukraine war. He's preoccupied with the sun. And I think that's what Nicolas Maduro is betting on, He's betting on the United States just being totally preoccupied with other things that he could just walk right into Guyana and take Guyana. I don't think it's going to be easy like that, Mr. Maduro. For one, the big player in the region, Brazil, said they support Guyana and is willing to defend Guyana at all costs. All right, I don't think you want to go to war with Brazil. And they're a much larger country. They're much more organized than the Nicolas Maduro regime. And they've gone out emphatically and said that they support Guyana. And Guyana's pumping oil, man. You're not even pumping oil, Mr. Maduro. You're not pumping oil. Guyana is pumping oil right now by the barrels. Do you think the world economy is going to let you come and destroy all of that? You really think that, Mr. Maduro? I believe he's bluffing, though. I believe Nicolas Maduro is bluffing. He's not going to annex anything. He's not even going to annex his own bathroom. He's not going to do anything. He's just saber rattling, trying to get the rest of the Venezuelan people who are stuck in Venezuela to rally up some nationalistic fervor, trying to gain any kind of support that he has left. He's not going to invade anything. Just saber rattling, and he can do that. I mean, it's up to him. I mean, that's his country. But it goes to show me one thing, that he's actually losing support with the rest of the Venezuelan people out there, because as you know, Venezuelans have been leaving Venezuela in millions. There are at least about 7-8 million Venezuelans out of Venezuela right now over the last 5 years or so. They're in places like Ecuador, Peru, Colombia, Trinidad, and the rest of the region, because they just can't take the Nicolas Maduro regime. He's turned it into an economic basket case. And it's a sad thing that he's turned the country into that. But anyway, it took a long while before the United States actually accepted him as the leader of Venezuela. All right? And so now they've accepted him now. And so now he thinks that there's some validity or some gives him some validity within his position. I don't think there's anything further from the truth, actually. They just want to make sure that they just want to keep you out of their hair, really. Because you really are the elected president of Venezuela. You know, you won the vote on the ground in the last Venezuelan election. Even though people say it was disputed and you stole the vote, fine, that's okay. But you won it on the ground, okay? So they have to respect. And I don't like this lack of recognition of recognizing, you know, a country's leader because we don't like the way the vote went down. I don't like that. If anything, you do something before the actual election happens to ensure that we don't have that kind of discrepancy if you care so much. But the people gave Nicolas Maduro the country to run. He won the election. He won it on the ground. He won the election on the ground. He got the votes, and he had the election machinery. He won the election on the ground. Come on. You don't give up power, you take power. So that's that. But like I said, I don't think he's going to do anything with regard to the Essequibo region. I think he's just saber-rattling. And for right now, we're just going to keep our eyes on it. But I'm quite certain Brazil would step in for Guyana before anything else happens, even before the United States. Which the United States should not want, actually. They should not want another power in the region taking authority where they once had authority and power and control over the Latin American region. That shows you a crumbling of the United States power, a crumbling of the state, a crumbling of the hegemon. You know, all superpowers, all world powers come to an end sometime. I think we're watching the slow chipping away of the American empire. You know, it happened to Rome, it happened to the Roman Empire, it happened to the Ottoman Empire, it happened to the Persian Empire, it happened to the Greeks, it happened to the British Empire. They all start to crumble and fall apart. But the thing is, they all crumble apart for different reasons. But one thing remained consistent with all of them. They got too big for their britches. They got too big to be able to control. And a mix of that and a mix of internal fights and internal squabbles. But the big thing was they got too big for the British. The British Empire is a prime example. They had a country that the sun never set on the British Empire. That was the saying. You know, the British Empire had a country under their control on almost every continent in the world. On every continent in the world. They got too big. They couldn't control it. So they had to let go of some of these countries. They had to give independence back to some of these countries. They just couldn't control it, man. They got too big. But the Roman Empire in particular, you know, they started to fall apart on the inside. And I think you're seeing a mix of that beside the United States and with the mix of them falling apart on the inside with regard to all these perversions, you know, the sex craze has taken over the United States. Who isn't gay? Who isn't transgender? Who isn't, you know, transsexual, whatever it is, LGBTQ, having some kind of gender dysphoria. They're falling apart. The same thing happened in Rome. Caligula was sex crazy. He was a sex crazed madman. Emperor Tiberius was another sex crazed madman. Nero was another sex crazed madman. Mad, out of control, could not control himself. And we're seeing it. We're seeing it right now. We're seeing it right now. And what's making it worse for the United States, we're seeing another dynamic in play right now. We're seeing the media, broadcasters, and actually spur most of this stuff on. So we have to ask ourselves, is the media serving a good purpose? Are they putting out information for the public good? I don't think they are. I think some of these things we don't need to know. Some things are not in the public's interest to know. And I'm in the media, I'm saying that. Because I'm seeing the United States media just turn people and pit people against, pit factions against each other, pit the blacks against the whites, pits the Jews against the gays, pits the gays against the Celtics. You know, it's just crazy how they're really stirring up all this angst and animosity. There's too much people with a platform. There's too much people with a platform. Not everybody should have a platform. And I see they're creating people out of thin air. I'm seeing these social media superstars just pop up out of nowhere. Like Charleston White. Who the hell is Charleston White? How was he created? Who the hell is he? He just up and just popped up out of nowhere. He has a comment on everything in the black community now in the United States. And people listen to his word. Like they didn't even ask where the hell did he come from? Why is he on our television? Why is he on our YouTube? Why is he on our social media? What makes him so special? Nobody's asked that question. Like, where did he come from? What makes him so special? Nobody asked the question. Is he a comedian? Is he an actor? Why so interested in him? What has he done? What's his track record? Nobody knows. Nobody knows. Nobody knows. But he's up on social media every day. He has an opinion on every goddamn thing. Not that I hate the man. No, I don't hate him. I don't know him at all from a can of paint. I'm just saying we create these things, these people, these dynamics, and when they become monsters, we can't pull it back. He didn't even have a podcast. He has up and side doing interviews. He didn't even have a podcast. He wasn't on a television show, nothing. Like, he's not an actor, nothing. All of a sudden, he's just Charleston White everywhere, Charleston White everywhere. And no one's asked the question. No one's asked the question, like, who the hell is he? Where did he come from? Why is he on our television? Is he an industry plant? Like how they said about Ice Spice? Is she an industry plant? Just created a figment of some kind of corporation that they created out of thin air to put inside the black community, confuse us? See, that's what I mean. They build it for controversies, just like Facebook and social media. They build it for controversy. It's built to evoke emotions out of you. So he's there trolling us. Charleston White is just trolling us right, left, and center. He has a comment on everything, man. He has an opinion on every damn thing. That's the thing. At least I started a podcast. At least you could see my track record. You see where I popped up from. I was in media for a while, and I started my own podcast. But no one knows where the hell Charleston White came from. Nobody knows his origin story. Like the Marvel Universe. We want to know your origin story, Mr. White. We want to know your origin story, please. See how I went to a tangent, to a rave like that? I went to a tangent. I always go off every now and then. But you understand what I mean, though. Why does the media manufacture these crises, these situations, these aggressions? Why do they manufacture these things? For ratings, of course. And that's what I mean. It's killing America. It's killing America for likes and ratings. It's tearing people apart. They say words don't hurt. Yes, words do hurt. Words confuse and words can maim. Words can confuse a lot of people, man. That's what's happening in the United States. Along with the sexual deviancy and the sexual perversions, the media just pitting everybody against each other. Of course, the United States is getting too big for itself. They want to be involved in everything. They can't be involved in everything. They need to pick their battles and pick the right battles. They're in Ukraine one day, they're in Palestine the other day. You can't solve everybody's problem. At least try to help and try to get people to work together. But now they're neglecting their own doorstep. They're neglecting Venezuela and Guyana. They're all over in Eastern Europe. They wouldn't even let the European Union deal with that. They're all the way in Eastern Europe trying to solve the Ukraine and Russia. And we know why they're in the Ukraine and Russia, because Hunter Biden, President Joe Biden's son, is mixed up in the Ukraine in some kind of Ukrainian scandal. So you want to make sure that you want to deal with Ukraine right off the bat. That's all it's always been anyway. It has nothing to do with Ukraine. Actually, Russia could bomb the Ukraine right now to smithereens, and Joe Biden wouldn't care. Once they destroy the evidence that links Hunter Biden to any kind of criminal activity, that's all he wants. I always thought they were going to go into Ukraine anyway, but they don't have to anymore. Because you know why? Because he's going to allow Putin to mash the country now if Putin has capacity to do so. And now we're seeing now that Putin doesn't have all of the capacity that they thought they had. And I think that's why, President Biden now is probably reconsidering now whether or not he give aid to the Ukrainians to go ahead and continue to mash the country down. Because that's all that will happen if the United States gets involved in Ukraine. That's all that will happen. I think they overestimated Vladimir Putin's capabilities, military capabilities. Even he thought it was going to be like, oh no, we're going to do this in about 3 to 6 months. We're going to go in there, ransack Kiev, and go in there and take everything over, and then bam, everything will be hunky-dory after that. No, the Ukrainians have shown that have built a stronger country than anyone else thought. And Russia's a lot weaker than everybody else thought. See how I went from Maduro talking about Ukraine? That's how interconnected this stuff is. It drives you crazy, man. But back to the region, though. Back to another thing in the region. Guatemala won't let its president-elect Bernardo Aravelo, set up his government. He is to be ratified next year on January 5th, right? And they wouldn't let him set up his government in peace. They're continually investigating him and holding every effort from his team from actually making a smooth transition to January 5th. It's gotten so bad that the Organization of American States, the OAS, they've had to condemn, the outgoing President Alejandro Giammattei, and him using his office to just thwart the election victory of Bernardo Aravelo. To just, totally thwart every effort he has to actually set up a government by investigating him, raiding his party offices, making sure that he investigates every little thing about Bernardo Araveo, which is just ridiculous, which is just crazy, man. The man won the election. Leave the man alone. Get out of the way. Anyway, you're gonna find when Bernardo Araveo when he actually takes the helm of Guatemala, and the investigation turns to you, because there's nothing going to stop his election. Nothing's going to stop his election, him being elected. Nothing's going to stop that. So you might as well just give up, man. They always didn't mince words at all. They say authorities in Guatemala continue to escalate this crisis by taking actions of their own choice, often in defiance of the will of the Guatemalan people, as well as the defiance of the body's declarations and resolutions. Yes, they decided to raise the stakes for the entire region. Utter contempt for the will of the Guatemalan people has been clearly demonstrated by the outgoing GMT government. Utter contempt. Utter contempt. The OAS condemns you. Usually they do nothing body right, but this is some strong language here. And you have to take that into consideration, because I've seen this linger on for the past several months after the election. And like if you're mad, you're not going to stop the man from taking office on January 5th. He won the election on the ground. Like Nicolas Maduro won the last presidential election of Venezuela on the ground. You win the elections on the ground. You lost. Sandra Torres lost. GMT is outgoing president right now in Guatemala. You lost. Go. President Araveo won the election on the ground. He won fair and square. Regardless of what you think, elections are won on the ground. And this just goes to the messy nature of Central American politics, man. And Bernardo Araveo is playing it so cool, He was just recently involved in a protest, a march against the GMT government about 2 days ago. He joined forces with the people of Guatemala to protest against all of the things that's been happening towards him. And you have to respect that. You have to respect that, man, because it shows that he's willing to march with the people, and the people support him. I'm telling you, and the more you hold him up, the more you get people on his side. I learned this from relationships, The more you fight against them, the more you fight with them, the more they pull away from you, the more they hate you even more. You have to let people see him for who he is, if he's a bad human being, if he's a bad candidate, if he's a bad president. You have to let people see him for who he is. I don't think he's that, because I haven't heard anything negative about him. I haven't heard he's a drug dealer. I haven't heard he's a kidnapper or an extortionist. I haven't heard any of that. So what are you doing to this man? Let the man take his off. Have a good transition, please. Have some class and some respect, please. On to another softer story, though, in the region. Apparently, the Economic Commission of Latin America and the Caribbean, ECLAC, as a UN body, ECLAC, said we're losing a lot of biodiversity in the region. We're losing a lot of biodiversity by cutting away all of the marshes and swamplands for development and making cropland. So we're losing a lot of the biodiversity in the region. And they claim that by 2030, we would have lost about $225 billion worth of GDP, real GDP. The region would, by cutting away all this biodiverse land that we have and using it for cropland and using it for development. That means we got to stop clearing away all these marshlands and killing our biodiversity. But then again, they don't talk about how we're going to farm and feed ourselves, though. Yes, they stop cutting away the land. They always have these grand ideas and say these things out there in the open, but they never tell you how they're going to fix the situation. Like, what are they going to do? If you need farmland, if you need development, what are you going to do? I'm not saying you burn the entire Amazon forest. My God, man. Let's try to have some solutions to this, please. You just can't say, I appreciate that we're going to lose $225 billion worth of real GDP by 2030. I appreciate that. That's a significant number for the region, for Latin America and the Caribbean. That's a significant number. That's a lot of mouths to feed. However, if it's used for farmland, cropland, there's something that needs to replace that. You just can't say, stop using that for farmland. But it's duly noted. If you go and you read the ECLAC report, it's right there on their website. If you can't get to the website, go to the Caribbean Magazine Plus, and you will see a synopsis of the report on the Caribbean Magazine Plus, and you will see them talk about the biodiversity and how we're losing biodiversity. Yeah, we got some other news tonight. I like to talk about American celebrities sometimes. It gives me good flavor. I don't know if you've been following this Sean Puff Daddy Combs situation. Apparently, another woman, a fourth woman now, a fourth woman. I didn't even know that was the second and third one. I only knows about is Cassie, his former ex, his ex Cassie, winning a $30 million lawsuit against him for sexual abuse and sexual assault. But there's a fourth woman now who goes by a pseudonym Jane Doe, who claims that Sean P. Diddy Combs and his manager at the time of Bad Boy Records, Harv Pierre, sexually assaulted her while she was in 11th grade in high school. So she met Diddy and Harv Pierre at a bar in Detroit, some back in 2003 when she's only 17 years old. And they took her back and they sexually assaulted her. And so she's claiming that, Diddy did this. And of course, Diddy's claiming and saying that they only want to pay out from him. And that, which could be the case, because I don't like these things when they come up with these pseudonyms. When they come on, these attackers and these accusers are in the dark. That's something that has to be fixed. You accusing a man of something, you need to come out and face your attacker in the open. Now I understand there may be a problem with that because Sean Puff Daddy Combs is so strong right now. He's such a big and very powerful man. However, other women have come forward. You can stand alongside them. He's not going to do anything to you. You have to read the room, read the situation here. Say she was 17 years old when P. Diddy assaulted her. And I believe she was a groupie. Maybe she was a groupie. Not doing anything. This sounds like a groupie situation. And you got passed around at a party. That's how it sounds to me. And that happens to a lot of these young girls nowadays who find these rappers or these stars. That's like R. Kelly. They pick up a lot of young girls, them being groupies. He landed himself in jail, though. R. Kelly did. And Puff Daddy may find himself in jail, too, if he doesn't pay out another accuser. I didn't even know there was a second and third accuser. I had to do some research on that. This just popped up in my newsfeed today. I only knew about Cassie, and he had to pay out a $30 million lawsuit to keep everything quiet. Otherwise than that, And the rapper 50 Cent is now trolling P. Diddy now. He's trolling him now by saying he's going to write a movie called Surviving Diddy, detailing all of the women that P. Diddy has all the men P. Diddy has sexually assaulted as well. Because that's a talk as well. Because that's what the situation is now. They're saying that P. Diddy would have willingly agreed with Cassie's lawyer, his ex's lawyers. He would willingly agree to the sexual assault and sexual abuse allegations if the gay rumors and the gay allegations didn't come out to the surface. That's what everyone's saying, And they're saying that P. Diddy's being linked to a bunch of different A-list celebrity men. I don't know anything about that. That's alleged. That happened. That's alleged. That happened. And they don't want all that to come out. It doesn't surprise me at all. It doesn't surprise me. Because they're all artists. They're all musicians. Most of them are really on the liberal side, I would say. So, yeah. To say all that. But I just want to see how this plays out now because this like it's going to be like a Me Too thing with P. Diddy Combs right now. Everyone's going to come out of the woodwork now and say they were sexually assaulted. I'm waiting for a man to come out now and say he was sexually assaulted by P. Diddy. We already had Dwight Howard, the basketball player Dwight Howard, and a man come out and say he was held down and raped by Dwight Howard and another transsexual inside Dwight Howard's hotel room several months back. The other big story, the other big celebrity story, I don't know if you've been following this basketball player, this former basketball player, Joe Smith. He was a former number one draft pick. Okay, Joe Smith. And his wife had started a OnlyFans page without his knowledge. And he was very irate and upset about that. And apparently his wife, Keisha Chavis, said she started the OnlyFans page to help support the family. What a girl. What a lady. What a good girl. She started the OnlyFans page to help support the family because apparently Joe Smith is broke. He made millions of dollars in the NBA, and now he's flat broke. He only had $3,000 on his account. That happens a lot more than people really want to admit, actually. There are several, these top sports stars. Mike Tyson's a prime example of one. Mike Tyson generated hundreds of millions of dollars and now is flat broke. Or was flat broke before he started doing his podcast and doing his other media circuits. His other media ventures. And they said she wanted to start an OnlyFans page to help support the family. And the other wrinkle in this, aside from Joe Smith being broke, was that apparently Keisha Chavis was a former porn star. She went by the name of Yasmin Penn Davis. And if you could search Yasmin Penn Davis on any of the other adult sites, you would see her work. So it shows you how toxic that relationship is, right? I'm gonna let you watch the video. Let me show. Apparently, she exposed this to him, and she recorded live his reaction to her OnlyFans page. She posted on her Instagram page. So clearly mocking the man, right? He has no control of that relationship. And she's older than him. She's about 50, and he's about 47, 48. And so she's a couple of years older than him. So clearly she's mocking and humiliating him, right? She said she loves him. She said she wants to be with him, but he has to get his act together because apparently she said the man's a bum. After basketball, he does nothing. He lets his phone ring. He doesn't take up any work, doesn't do anything else, nothing else. Took up no extra classes, nothing. So she has to sell her body to take care of the family. What a shame. You would let your wife do that, Joe Smith? That's what a shame, man. I listen to both sides of the situation. I find it both equally disheartening. I hope they work it out, you know. Really hope they work it out. But let me show you the video right now. Show you what's going on here. Let me play. There you go.
I can't believe I'm sitting here just finding out you got an OnlyFans page. Out of all these years, yo, the disrespect that comes with it, that you could have talked to me before you did it, that's that's please. I'm telling you, that's
Wait, no. Calm, but you're not gonna say me or that's up. It's not up.
Record me, what the you doing?
Listen, it's not up, and we're going to. Okay, look. So I have an OnlyFans page, and he's mad because he's just now finding out about it.
Of course, I'm mad. I'm just finding out about it.
I'm not doing it with anybody but myself. So why should I have to tell my choice, my body, my choice?
Your partner, you're supposed to come to me and talk to me.
Joe, I've been talking to you about mad things. I've been asking for solutions. You're not giving me none, so I created one.
That's no solution. Not in my book.
In a video posted on TikTok, former NBA big man Joe Smith gets really, really ticked when he discovers his wife has an OnlyFans.
You knew who the I was when you met me.
Before,
yeah,
I knew that.
Thought that I would never have to go back to anything like this again.
Beforehand,
but
unfortunately,
no. That's not the case right now.
After that, everything's supposed to change.
Everything did change.
No. Obviously, it hasn't.
No, it had to. I had to do something.
Hasn't. You stood out there showing your body. You stood out there doing stuff like this on camera.
You act like that's the only thing that I do. I have mad jobs, but they're not facilitating everything that needs to be done. So I got something extra. OnlyFans be breaking me off.
This video was uploaded of Keisha Chavis showing the tense interaction. More in a moment.
Come on, Keisha, with that. It don't matter what they breaking you off. It's the disrespect that comes with it.
What disrespect?
You couldn't come and talk to me about it.
Okay, well, we're talking about it now.
Because I had to find out on the fly.
All right, then. But now, okay.
No,
so, wait.
I had to find out on the fly.
So now you know.
Yeah, now I know.
Okay.
You know, it sound too hot to me, you know. Just sounding he just a bit upset that she didn't tell him, but you know, sound too upset that, you know, she actually starting that. You know, I'd be totally pissed.
And so? Whatever. I've been doing what I have to do, period. Like, that's bottom line. That's what it is.
I have some thoughts, but first, Chavis has a history.
That's all right there, okay? So I actually ripped that from another YouTube site. I don't recall his name, but you saw the caption on the side, the TYT website, the TYT YouTube page. Yeah, so just unfortunate, man, that, you know, this has to go on like this. But he knew his wife was a porn star, you know. He knew what she was. You married a former porn star, and you actually could see her having sex online. This isn't like something that, oh, this is a home video. She was actually a professional porn star. What did he expect? What did he expect? He should have broke that at the early stages, man. But you can't, you know, turn a hoe into a housewife. And she was living like that without any kind of rules and restriction. When someone does that kind of work, they already have no rules and boundaries to themselves. So trying to get them into a sensible relationship is just foolhardy. You can't do it. You just can't do it. She already has her mind focused on herself. You can't change them like that when it's like that. They've already broken their spirit. They're ready for the world. They're ready for the streets. You can't change them after that. And you chose something. Now you're in the people are saying this is made up, this is fake, this because they want to actually boost her OnlyFans page, which at the end I hope it does. But they're saying that it's not fake. It's actually a genuine reaction. But I can look at his reaction on that video right there. It doesn't look like he's totally upset with it at all. He's just mad that she didn't tell him, and he feels disrespected that he wasn't in the know. Not that she's selling her body. Me, I'd be totally pissed. I'd be totally pissed. We would be having a totally different conversation right now if that was me. I'm telling you the truth. No, my woman can't do that. She can't do that. Not with me. What kind of man am I? I'm looking at Joe Smith like some kind of goon, like some kind of loser right now. Especially since you lost all your money in the NBA. The fool is you, Joe Smith. You know exactly who your wife was. And she told you, you knew who I was when you married me. She's telling you that to your face. She's humiliating you. Just like how Jada Smith used to humiliate Will Smith. She's humiliating you, man. Only one thing you can do right now is you gotta leave, Joe. You gotta leave. You can't put this toothpaste back into the tube. You have to leave the woman. You have to leave her alone. You have to let her be who she is. If she comes back, that's fine. But there's some ground rules that has to be laid on your behalf. And you gotta actually get up and do something. Because I heard some stuff in that exchange right there. She's saying, you haven't been doing anything, Joe. So she has to take care of herself, Joe. What do you expect her to do, Joe? What do you expect her to do, Joe? You're not taking care of her. She expected more from you. And come to find out, apparently you're a bum. After you left the NBA, you're a bum. You don't want to do any work, man. You don't want to work. All these opportunities are there for someone like yourself who's a former #1 draft pick. There's so many things that the NBA could actually invite you in and bring you into. There's the big three, the big three league. You could go into broadcasting. You could be a coach, an assistant coach. You could work in an organization somewhere. You've worked on multiple NBA teams. Someone would want to have you in the front office. You could be a player development coach. All these things you could be doing to make money. But no, you just want to sit around and watch your wife and get mad because she wants to start an OnlyFans page to take care of herself. No, the shame's on you, Joe. Not her. The shame's on you. You're the man. You're in control of the house. I don't fault her for anything. It's you. It's you. But she's actually calling out for leadership. She's actually crying for male leadership in her life. And you're not giving that to her, Joe. That's what that is. She's crying out for male leadership and you're not giving that to her. It's just sad, man. Just sad. But anyway, I wish them all the best. But he has to leave her. He has to leave. He has to walk away from that altogether and let her come back on her knees, a changed woman, saying she's willing to work on it, but she drops the OnlyFans page and be a good wife. But I don't see how she could do that now because everyone knows now what she is. And when she goes in there and does her own stuff, you leave her alone. What do you think she's going to do? She's not averse to having sex with strange men. You actually want your wife back after that? My God. What a tangle where we weave. What a tangle where we weave. So let's recap our show, ladies and gentlemen. Let's recap our show. Like I said, we had condolences to Dr. Carissa Etienne, the former director of the Pan American Health Organization. She passed away last week, Friday, from a heart attack in the United States. My condolences to her family. She did a great job with leading us through the COVID-19 pandemic, and God rest her soul. We had Mia Mottley, the Prime Minister of Barbados, calling for a one world government to help aid climate change initiatives. She said the world needs more coordination, more governance, a global governance mechanism, a global economic framework that will allow people to come together and actually make these decisions more quickly for climate change. Well, you know, she can believe that all she wants. There's not going to be one world government. We're too diverse. So the thing is, Mia Mottley is a part of the Illuminati. She just outed herself. So you've been following behind the Illuminati and the Freemasonry with Mia Mottley. There you go. I know what's going to happen. I know something with her. And we also have in Venezuela, you know, Nicolas Maduro trying to annex the Essequibo region from Guyana. They had a referendum last week, this past Sunday. Over 10 million people in Venezuela, those people who were left in Venezuela, voted for the referendum to actually annex the Essequibo region from Guyana. Just when Guyana started to pump for oil. My goodness. My man's got to be crazy. Nicolas Maduro has to be out of his mind. He thinks he's going to annex the Essequibo region and actually disrupt the oil being pumped out of Guyana. You have to be out of your damn mind. I say you're crazy. Then we have another regional situation out of Central America. They would not let Bernardo Araville transition to his new government come January 5th. They keep thwarting him. They keep investigating him. They keep thwarting him. It's just an embarrassing situation for the outgoing Alejandro Giammattei government. Just an embarrassing situation. I think even right now, if you stop cold turkey, just let President-elect Aravil just conduct his transition team the way he wants and the way he sees fit, everything will be forgotten right now. But you just keep on digging your heels in. That's some pride you got there, Mr. Giammattei. You have the power to make all this stuff go away and stop. That's some pride you have there. Like I said, elections are won on the ground. President-elect Bernardo Aravalo won the election on the ground. Let him have his transition, please. Then we have the ACLAC, the Economic Commission of Latin America and the Caribbean, saying that we're losing a lot of biodiversity by making all this cropland, cutting away all these marshes and these specialized lands, these natural lands, these wetlands, by cutting them down and making croplands. And we're losing a lot of biodiversity. And they claim that by 2030, that region would lose about $225 billion worth of real GDP as a result of it. But they've given no explanation. They've given no suggestion of how we're going to create better farmland. So there you have it, man. $225 billion isn't a lot to sneeze at, man. That's a lot of money. It's a lot of money, man. Let me also talk about P. Diddy, his new lawsuit with a 17-year-old girl back in 2003 who claims that she was sexually assaulted by P. Diddy and Harpier. She isn't saying her real name. She's going by a pseudonym. And P. Diddy is saying that it's all for a payout. They're looking for a check. But apparently this is the fourth lady that came out against P. Diddy. I'm not even aware of the second and third one. I know about his ex-wife Cassie. And now this fourth lady, this pseudonym, this lady who goes by a fake name, she goes by Jane Doe, said she met P. Diddy when she was 17 years old. And she met his manager at the time, Harpier, who introduced her to P. Diddy. And they took her back to New York and gave her a few trips. And they were sexually assaulted. She was sexually assaulted by those two men. Sounds like a groupie situation to me, and it happens all the time. Not to say she hasn't been assaulted, but she should come forward, man. I don't like these anonymous people coming forward and making all these claims, She has to come forward and say something. I agree. At least I think so. She has to come forward and say something, man. And lastly, like the last thing we just watched just then was the Joe Smith saga with his wife, Keisha Chavis. You gotta throw her back, Joe. Joe, you gotta throw her back. You gotta let her come back to you. You gotta walk away from that situation altogether and let her come back to you, man. That's the only way you can save some face out of this. I don't know why you would want her back, but if you love her, you love her. I understand. We love who we love. But you gotta walk away from her, Joe. It's not gonna end well. Let her have her OnlyFans and find a damn job, man. Take care of yourself. You have so much at your fingertips right now, Joe. Take care of your family, man. Your wife's crying for leadership. That's a lack of leadership in the home, Joe. It has nothing to do with her, something to do with you. She's clearly crying for you to take charge of the relationship and take care of her. You married her. You know what she was. She told you you knew what she was. So she went back to doing what she normally did. And that was hoeing. So she's selling her body in OnlyFans. She was a porn star beforehand, Joe. Why do you think this is going to work out anyway? Why do you think it's going to work? It's not that she was sexually promiscuous. That's another thing, right? But her mind is clearly gone. She's crossed the line mentally and emotionally and psychologically. It's like a killer. Once he kills someone for the first time, he crosses that line. He doesn't come back at all. Like a serial killer. She's crossed that line. She's crossed into sociopathy. She clearly sees the world in different colors. And she's not on that run with you, Joe. She sees making money, living a life different from the way you see living a life and making money. And you can't change them when they're like that. She's a 50-year-old woman, Joe. You can't change them. You have to let it go. You have to let it go. That's my take with you. That's my take from that, But, that's me. What do you want me to say? You only could warn these guys every now and then. But maybe a lesson to you guys. When you see them for the streets like that, think very, very carefully. You not just listen to what they say, but also watch their actions. They'll tell you they're for the streets. Because when you see a woman change like that, her mindset, and she's totally out there, totally left, there's very little any man can do to satisfy her, man. She's living a wild life. She understands what it's like to live that lane. You can't bring her back. You can't tame her. Even for a man, you can't tame him. You can't do it. Anyway, that's our show for tonight, ladies and gentlemen. I thank you for joining me for the LimeVibe Live podcast. I'm your host, Yuri Arman-Kemp. And please, if you have not done so, please like, share, and subscribe to our Facebook and YouTube page, LimeVibe77. That's LimeVibe77 on Facebook and YouTube. If you want to, please drop a comment in the comment section and tell us how much you like the show. And also, there's a link in the description as well. And if you want to donate anything to the LimeVibe Live podcast, please do so. We really would appreciate it. And I thank you for tuning in for another LimeVibe Live podcast. So this is Yuri Arman-Kemp saying good night from Nassau, Bahamas. Goodbye.